Okay, we are live. Well, we're live. This will be recorded. Thanks to the vagaries of modern day 4G and cellular technology. We're setting up here for the first race of day, well, so this is technically race 3, day 2 of racing of the 2016 IKC. That's the 48th IKC, as I'm reminded frequently of. Let me get it into focus here for you guys. Alright, just put it on infinity. There we go. And we're getting set up here for the first start. I'll do a slow pan here so you guys can see the bridge, a little zoomed in, but we're starting at about 10 to 12 knots of breeze. Occasionally a puff comes through at about 14, but thus far it's a pretty steady 10 to 12. It's a flood tide, and the current is moving in much slower along the shore than it is outside. So similar to races 1 and 2, we will see the fleet moving inside after the start. So some notables to pay attention to. Today, Chris Perkins is sailing in number
123.
So 123 is John Perkins. I'm sorry. Okay, we're clarifying this. Just as I predicted yesterday, they're going to change all the numbers of all the boats. I'll do my best to follow the numbers for you guys. But the leader is Chris Perkins. And once again, sorry guys, forgot already. 123 owned by John Taylor of the Richmond Yacht Club. Had a long pedigree, was famous. Okay, let's go ahead and start moving up. We're about a minute and some change to the start, so we can get up closer to the off the extension of the line there. Actually, we are, yeah, okay. We are now at 1 minute to the start. General consensus appears to be that the boat end is where to be, and that's because for the last several minutes, on average, the breeze has been higher outside. The outboard end of the committee boat is inside, is into the left of, closer inshore of a tide line. So quite a few people, perfect, neutral, and then you should just be able to sit here, be ready for the start. So zooming in, here we go. Start of race 3, counting down. There are a number of boats being held out up at the committee end. A lot of luffing going on in this kind of flood tide start. Maybe 1 or 2 boats over, but no horns. Okay, so clean start. The leeward end we've got 135, and above him is 127. That's actually hull number 138 that's using 127's mainsail. Further up the line, 123. Chris Perkins is the third boat from the bottom. Clearly Chris was thinking, take the amount of breeze we got, but get inside in the first group. He is got a nice hull to weather, and he's clear to leeward. Above him is 130. Who's that, Bill? Who's 130? So Carl Frederick Joyce is in 130. Who's 122? Not yet. Find the last boat and go right up underneath him. Okay. stay just this side of them. That way I can keep track of who's coming off the wall inside towards Marina Safeway. Okay. Once again, it's a little bit choppy here at the start. Some pleasure craft and some other things out here on the bay because it is a Sunday. I'm sure come Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, it'll be much calmer around here. Go ahead and get us there. Okay. Right now, this is the scene. The first two boats that went in got the left shift, and it's lighter, and that's going to hurt them. 135's on the inside, 128, which I think is Morton Helda Hagerud, it looks like. Can you keep calling out boat names and numbers? 127. Okay. Chris Perkins is looking pretty solid here. He got in of the sort of A fleet. He managed to get into the good tide pretty much first, but it's going to get lighter for the series leader here shortly. That is a good boat. It used to be known as the Red Witch. Actually, it was Water Witch, maybe White Witch, and then Red Witch. It used to be very fast. In fact, I had my first 3 races in a Canar on that boat. We won all 3, and it took me 18 years to replicate that feat. Go figure. So we see some boats here in the second row. They're doing all they can do, which at this point is just to hang in there and get inshore. The wind is going to be definitely kind of sloppy and light underneath, but you just have to get in here. Now the boats inside are starting to see more shift of the breeze to the south. I'll swing over here at 135. It's going to be ducking some sterns, but is showing a lift on port tack relative to the rest of the fleet. They are going to be behind Perkins, ahead of 130, but after all that, not that far behind Perkins. It looks like the right side is paying off more. 111 up there is Larry Drew. 47, Bill?
111 is Perkins.
I'm sorry, yes, 111 is, that was from yesterday. 111 is John Perkins. 47? And Graham Green is 47. Graham and crew had a good day yesterday in one of their races. I believe they were racing 122. We see 127 still going hard, taking some sterns, trying to get back out to the breeze. They saw how light it could be inside. They are crossing ahead of 125, which is Charlie Griffith today is 125. Okay, sorry for the flopsy camera, guys. We're going to try and edit some of this out with the YouTube filters later. Going to post-production. Okay, 114 is Morton Helda Hagerud, it looks like. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. Okay. Go ahead and get up behind 99. We'll move offshore a little bit. And like, you can get us there. I want to keep up with the first pack of the fleet here for the start.
What the camera guy told me is you don't want to keep it on full time, otherwise so turn it off and give it a rest every now and again, because it's not made for 2 hours straight.
Gotcha.
Shots, okay?
Get us up behind out there. Just go up and towards 128. So it looks like they had to move right after the start. 128 is Knud Webro, Mike Radiani, with Bradford Whitaker and Bill Fredericks on board. A mix and match going on in here. Boats trying to sneak their way out around the point. They're all trying to get around it, tack on to starboard, and sneak their way up inside the shore where the current is not in their face as much. And just like yesterday, okay, 122. most people have moved back in. The people out here, with the exception of one, well, we'll include 85 in that, which is Brent Crawford. Most people out here have gone in. It's mostly Americans that have worked hard to get up inside the shore, which is to be expected. Go ahead and get us closer. We want to stay, if we can, about just maybe 3 boat lengths max behind the lowest boat, or whoever's in the bulge of boats. Okay, they're coming off. In 120, and I don't know if that got captured on camera, but it looks like a shark jumped out of the water twice right in front of 120, and I think I got it on camera.
Just twice.
Yeah.
Little shark.
Yeah, like 5 feet long.
Yeah, 4 or 5 feet.
Okay. Just heard our first shouts of starboard. We can hear from here. I'm sure there's some guiding and damming going on inside the fleet too. But so far looks like a pretty orderly day sail up the city front. Now, staying out for zone flyer and getting big right angle in the breeze, but it's been hurting him, is Brent Crawford. We used to race that boat many years ago with Steve Wagner before they got 128. Then he ended up with 144. Sailing out towards him is 122. Trying to tack into the right breeze. They're hoping that the angle makes up for the extra drag. Sneak this up further. As any sailing in San Francisco Bay. It's like 125. Just force back 128 and 115. Who's 115 today, Bill? Sam's at 115. Above him, they're getting rolled, is 128. 125, which I believe is Charlie Griffith, is forced the back and is pretty much rolled the leg arm. And this is the danger of getting close in, you get pushed back. Okay, now there's a sea room call right there. 115 call for sea room. 128 went. Very close to on top of 128 and 122. They are just sort of stuck as the ham in the sandwich. They are trying to get out like all the guys on the inside who just went through that. Now, sailing with his main strapped flat flat and just slowing that heavy wooden boat down. It's 114. 114 is okay, it looks like 135 is Steve Taft in the green boat. It's a Norwegian in 114. Inga Bertin. Go ahead and push us up there. Get nice and close. It's a classic example where the boats get, as we say, back in the meat grinder. You're just another piece of meat. And what happens is you get in there, and if you are not able to choose when you can tack in this flood tide, it gets very painful. Now, this is interesting. 120 called for room on 99. I guess they did not know where the edge of the tide is. They could have gone easily another 4 boat lengths. As you can see, if you look way upwind, we got a dark blue boat. I think that's 144. That's way inside towards the H-beam. And that is a pretty significant duck that 114 took behind 17. Okay, Steve Taft, 135 back. Oh yeah, look at that.
Major back into the legal zone.
143 is trying to correct himself, and that is not, unfortunately, permissible.
He's out.
So 143 sailed back around the H-beam buoy, thinking they could unwind themselves, and as an obstruction of the course, you can't do that, unfortunately. And Bill Belmont will tell us who's sailing 143. Morten Reinhold. Nice to be this close to the fleet. Many grateful thank yous to Susie Webro for making her fantastic camera available to make this possible. So move outboard of him, but upwind a bit. There you go. Okay. Now, common for this part of the race course is the breeze starts to come from the left. Now, strangely, I guess I blinked and missed it. I'm looking for Canard number 85. So he sailed back in. Okay, thanks, Bill. So that boat that took the flyer went way out, stayed away from the meat grinder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Brent Crawford managed to acquire 8 boats in the back of the fleet by just staying clear and letting them slow each other down. So this and he's in a good position because he's in good water, but as happens a lot at this point in the fleet, this part in the bay, the breeze starts to fill in from the left on the shore, which means if you're going upwind towards the mark, you're on lane line much sooner. We'll take a peek up there just to the left of the south tower of the bridge. Just to the left of the south tower of the bridge. South tower of the bridge there, between it and Fort Point. The yellow buoy. I'll zoom in a little bit here just for a moment. And that is the mark. Scan left. This is classical. Hopefully no one goes through between Anita Rock and the yellow buoy like they did yesterday. They did not retire yet. I think when they see the film this afternoon that was taken yesterday, they will. Here comes a tight crossing, 122 and 135. Not that tight. Okay. So this is our peak inside. We're gonna go zip up to the weather mark and track who's showing up to the party.
Break now.
Okay, we are here at the weather mark.
Chris.
We're here at the weather mark.
Oh, no, 1140 is
So,
on the side.
here we have Anders Miroff in 1140 is going to be first to this weather mark. On the other side of him in 111 is Chris Perkins, we believe. No, see, that's John Perkins. Sorry, John. And they are both pretty launched. Anders Miroff was winner last year, I understand, in Copenhagen. And he's hotly chased in it. Two very fast wooden boats. Gorgeous both, by the way. Especially 1140, as you see it here. That's Tom Reed's boat, 103, which happens to be for sale. They're going to cross this tide line, which you can see here. They will sail a little ways out, but not that far before they jibe and try and head down the city front. Again, with the breeze coming out of the south.
Peterson. Tom
Yep.
Carlson's third.
Okay. So, coming up here in 711 is the Dame. Gentleman, all-around nice guy, Tom Carlson, sneaking in right behind him in 116. Can't quite see here. That's a Danish team, I think. Okay, here is Chris Perkins in 5th place in the gray boat. Just came out of the yard, gorgeous new paint job and everything. Don Taylor's 123. Phil Perkins is tactician. Hans Baldoff is doing jib.
Hendrik Senderlund is on 116.
And 142. Next, followed by 132, which is Lars Godfredsen. 7 is, so 132 is in 7th. 47 is Graham Green.
Yes.
102 is Don Nazal. And about 8th, I guess that is. Sorry, it's hard to keep track of all that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9th. Sorry, so Don Nazal's in 9th. Coming back over here. Coming around the mark is 104. 104 is Terry Anderlini, Mark Dahm, Brooks Price, and Kurt Hemmingson. Oh, we just had a little incident there. 130 had to take rather evasive maneuvers for 133, who was tacking at the mark. If we don't see a red flag, I haven't heard any screaming. 133 is Chris Kelly. Here's some excitement at the weather mark. 115 is holding out 140. 140 had to call starboard on 127. They're waiting for 115. Okay, here's the simultac. All 3 boats go at once. Risley Sam's in 115. Oops, sorry guys, gotta go the other way. Behind them is Larry Drew in 140, the Easter egg.
Nude Weaver just rounded.
Okay, followed by 127 and then 128.
Nude Weaver.
Looks like 127 is Johan Vida from Bergen, Norway. And Knud Vibro in 127.
Charlie.
Okay, around the mark next, 135. It's Steve Taft, I believe.
143.
Followed by 143. Visiting team, looking very sharp in their reds. Followed by the black boat, or sorry, the dark blue boat, sorry Bill. That's 85, which has Brent Crawford sailing it. Next to come around is 120. There's some ducking on the 125. Had to duck 122 on the ley line there. I'm sure Mark Malcoon will be grateful they did. Didn't hit his beautiful 122.
120 is
You gotta speak up, Bill.
Peter Bearisher.
And look at me.
Peter Bearisher.
Okay.
122 Peter Bearisher.
Okay. Okay, so next we have 122, followed by 99. Got some shouting and yelling for room here.
It's Charlie. And I thought I knew he was on 122.
And we have 17.
Johan Hide. No, that's 122.
Followed by 114. And someone's got to bring up the back of the fleet. Okay, here's a quintessential car sailing the bay at San Francisco kind of look. Bridge is spectacular. Last I do not, sorry, my truck. Okay, now carrying on with the same theme that we started with yesterday, the rich get richer in this fleet, which means in a flood tide especially, the further you get out ahead of everyone else, you get to choose which puffs to tack on, which tide to sail through, and you tend to get launched. So here we have our two race leaders. We have on the left of the camera is John Perkins in 111. To the right is Anders Meroff, as I recall is the defending IKC champion. He is in 1140. Tom Reed's gorgeous and quite fast boat. Going back behind him we have, that's the A fleet. In the B fleet, which is the next four boats, that is being led by Tom Carlson in 144. Behind him in 116 is Henrik Soderlund. And the next person, closest in the gray boat, 123, is regatta leader Chris Perkins. Zoom out, we'll get you at the leeward mark. Okay, here's a quintessential car sailing the bay at San Francisco kind of look. Bridge is spectacular. Last I do not, sorry, my truck. Okay, now carrying on with the same theme that we started with yesterday, the rich get richer in this fleet, which means in a flood tide especially, the further you get out ahead of everyone else, you get to choose which puffs to tack on, which tide to sail through, and you tend to get launched. So here we have our two race leaders. We have on the left of the camera is John Perkins in 111. To the right is Anders Meroff, as I recall is the defending IKC champion. He is in 1140. Tom Reed's gorgeous and quite fast boat. Going back behind him we have, that's the A fleet. In the B fleet, which is the next four boats, that is being led by Tom Carlson in 144. Behind him in 116 is Henrik Soderlund. And the next person, closest in the gray boat, 123, is regatta leader Chris Perkins. Zoom out, we'll get you at the leeward mark. Okay, first leeward mark rounding. First leeward mark rounding, we have Anders Meroff is going out, which is because he had JP inside of him. JP, John Paul, John Perkins is in 111 here in Yendon. He's got an easier line in. Anders had to do the 270 turn. JP just did about a 120 without the jibe, and he is heading in towards some very good breeze, and he'll get to the easier waters quicker. Okay, coming in 711, going to the outside mark is Tom Carlson. He's in third place. Looking left, we see 116. It's Henrik Soderlund, I've been told. Behind him is 123. That's Chris Perkins. And Chris Perkins is clear ahead of 132 if they try to go that way. The other boat is 142. And 142, Bill, is Ebe Anderson. 132 is Lars Godfredson. Okay, so some big money up here at the top of the fleet. They figured out the start, and more importantly, they figured out how to steer clear. Yep. And in 102, correct?
Yes.
Yes, in 102, going to the outer mark, the outer gate, is Don Nizal, who's picked up some spots in a very fast boat.
47 is Green.
And Graham Green is here on 47. He's definitely hoping to get back into shore a little quicker. It'll be good for learning about the course here to see who comes out of this faster. 102 with Don Nizal, or Graham Green in 47. Okay, coming into the outer mark to a jibe first is Terry Enderlini in 104, I believe that is. Yeah, with the jib way too tight for rounding like that in a flood tide.
That is correct.
Okay.
Now we got 130.
That's 130 going around the outside. 133. Next boat around. It's Chris Kelly, who looks like he's in about 10th, given the split between the gates. Nice clean rounding. Boat looks good. 133 had a great record for many IKCs. It was originally imported. Let's get upwind of it. We can get much closer. By John Jenkins. The boat used to do fantastically well in IKCs. John used to joke it's because he wasn't sailing it. 140 around the outside is Larry Drew in the Easter egg. We'll have a nice rounding here. 115 is clear ahead. Oh, no, they're not. 128 has gotten inside of 115 after the last mark and ahead of 127. That's Knut Webro. 128 is Knut Webro. 115, I think, is Risley Sams. And 127 came charging in with a lot of speed, and they barely sneak inside there. Sorry, 127 is Johan Vida. Now we have Steve Taft at 135. Now we got 120 sneaking in here at the inner mark, the shore mark. We'll try and that's Peter Bircher. And behind him is 85. Fast boat, did very well yesterday, owned by Bill Belmont. And on board 85 is Don Nizal. No, excuse me, that was yesterday. Today is Brent Crawford. And Brent now shows up to that mark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he held his position in spite of taking the inside track going down. Next goes around 125 on the outside, 99 on the inside. Just definitely being sailed by a, looks like a Morten Helda Hagerud, looks like it. You can tell because he's sitting to leeward. 122, and then on the far outside is 114. Okay, with some quintessentially gorgeous stuff. Here's Anders Miroff sailing right in front of the club in first place. Zoom out, and you can see still pretty close. This is not a done deal, but it'll be a tough sled for John Perkins in second place at 111. Sliding back, Tom Carlson has continued to move out on quote the B fleet. Chris Perkins has gotten to weather of him. He had to move offshore to get some clear air. They're not coming very far offshore. Now that they stretched out, there's not so many boats around him. We can get a little further inshore, just slowly make our way over. Behind him, further inshore is 132. It's another Lars, could be a Godfredson. Behind is 116, and then further in is, I think, 47, just above 116. All right, you can start slowly turning the boat to the right. Give it a little juice. Yeah, okay, some of these guys don't know what they're doing, so they're coming offshore. This is good. Okay, that's good. We're off of anybody's breeze. No, he's good. He's
close, Mike. I got houses the last time.
still a little further out. We're not on their breeze. Head directly offshore, a little more offshore, other way, right turn. Okay, 102 has got, looks like Lars Gottfredson, I think it is, in 47 here. That's good, you can stop. Okay. Okay, finally going back. That was going a long ways out to find a private Idaho. There are a lot more tide. So that was that's pretty much, I would say, a big gamble, but they're certainly not going to pass anybody with that tactic at this point. The breeze is slightly more out of the right-hand side of the course. The numbers have gone up. If anybody cares, I'd say roughly the wind's out of about 290 at this point in the course. 111's in second. Looking up course, there's the course leaders. And a quick scan back will give you some numbers. In front of the club is 104, then 130, followed by Larry Drew at 140. 128 is Knut Webro, who has moved up from very deep to 25th. Nice work, guys. Followed by, I think, 711, 127 on the inside. Next is 143, followed by 115, right there. And then some other boats, we can't read the numbers, but they're pretty deep still. Alrighty, here we are at the weather mark with some interesting stuff going on here. There were some big wind shifts and some local knowledge paid off. John Perkins looks like managed to sneak in and get around Anders Miroff. 111 has gotten ahead of 1140. So here we are. Nice work, guys. This is a good, tight race between two very good sailors, two very good teams. And just behind them, in the boat they call 50-50, used to be owned by John Perkins, it's 7-Eleven. How convenient. Now we know what's in store. This is Tom Carlson from Copenhagen, member of the KDY, Kongeliga Dansk Yacht Club, or Sail Club as they say sometimes. Tom purchased, I believe, diamond sails He had Carlson Sails for a long time before they merged with North Sails, and he was instrumental in leading North Sails there from Copenhagen. Okay, going back to the rest of the fleet that's approaching. The next boat we have is Chris Perkins in 4th place. Looks like he passed someone through the shifts that were on the inside. He's in the gray boat, 123.
And Lars Gottfriedson.
So what this likely means is there were more shifts on the inside between the yacht club and Anita Rock, or just after Anita Rock, than we could see from the boat. Of course, we were moving fast.
Is Eve Anderson.
Coming up in 5th place, Ebe Anderson, 142. And he's just far enough away, probably won't make much of a difference. 116 on starboard coming in. We got some overlap boats here. Ebe Anderson is leading 132, I believe is that Lars Gottfriedson?
Yes.
Yep, Lars Gottfriedson. 116 will tack clear and away. Boy, they went really late. Must have had a sheet stuck or something. Maybe trying to get up to 102.
102 is Don Nazal.
Don Nazal here, 102.
He has more acceleration, so he may pass him at the moment.
He's in 8th, overlapped with the 7th place boat. But in 47, coming up from behind him, it may prevent him from jibing when he wants. It's Graham Green. And again, people are going out to try and get it away from the fleet, which they anticipate will jibe right on top of their hair, but also there's slightly more flood. Those of you who are not used to this, because in San Francisco, it is a lot like being on a moving sidewalk at the airport. The one on the left is going much further than the one on the right. And when you watch the kids go racing along, that's the one they're looking for. So, some more roundings. 104 rounded, that's Terry Interlini. 128 is Knud Webro. Looks like he's picked up some more ground. Followed closely behind by Larry Drew in 140. On the outside of Larry Drew is 130. And behind them is 133, what I believe is Chris Kelly. It looks like it. So nice job by Team Canute. They're moved up into 12th or 13th, which is very good considering they were very deep at the start. And Bill was about to tell me who's in 143. Just took a good puff. The breeze is starting to get up a little bit up here at the top of the course. It's Morton Reinhold. And in 127 is Johan Vida. The last 9 boats are making their way up. And there was some extension that happened, some spreading out here. 115, which I think is Risley Sam's. Yes. He put some distance between himself and 135. Part of a nice ley line. Okay, now because of the flood and the breeze, we know they're going to a finish. I'll give you the boats that are going to come around. We're going to run down very quickly here and try to get ready for the finish so we can see it. So 135 followed by 125, 120. There's, I think 85 is deep and some other boats, can't quite tell. We'll get you on the finish. Okay, we weren't looking. We had a luffing match. JP luffed Anders Merolf. JP got himself, we were looking earlier, got himself at least 2 or 3 boat lengths away. It came up. JP was getting blanketed a bit by Anders, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more luffing match. Yeah, we'll go right. But they went around us. get about maybe 2 boat lengths, just a little bit this way, and then you can park it with the stern in. Okay, JP managed to get a little bit ahead of Anders there, but there's still some blanketing. Anders is trying to get close to him. JP still has luffing rights. There's no overlap broken. He did not. But JP had luffing rights because he came in from far enough away. Oh, he just got himself a boat length. I think that did it. That's good theater right there, folks. Nice to have that on film. Thank you, Susie Webro, for, again, this tremendously good camera that allows us to get this. It's getting close again. Anders has got a puff. He's coming down, but with the flood tide, just put it in reverse. You're good here. I'm not in anybody's way. They sailed around us yesterday, both races. Yeah, I talked to the race committee. I told them what we were doing. JP, John Perkins gets ahead of Anders Miroff. Last upwind leg, throws him some hard luffs. Coming down the final downwind leg. Gets some separation and managed to take first place. Second place, Anders Miroff, of course. And in third place, a very nice race sailed by the gentleman sailing with Tom Carlson, who managed to sail away quite nicely from Chris Perkins in the gray boat, who's coming in next in fourth place. Still a very good finish for Chris, who after yesterday had 2 firsts. Came in today with a pretty handy lead. I think it was 2 firsts. Okay, here's some exciting stuff. This will be quite a finish. We have Weather Boats 142. The next boat in is 132, Lars Gottfredson. On the other side we had a jibe at 116. 142 will not be able to jibe. The boat end is slightly favored. If you sail towards the committee end, you'd actually be ahead of the game. There's enough distance here to keep any last second lead changes from happening. Now on the other side of the course we've got Graham Green at 47. And behind him coming in is 102, Don Nazal. Low on this battery here, so we'll just give you the updates. 127, followed by 125, followed by 135, followed by 125, and then it looks like we've got, can't tell who that is, looks like 99, followed by 120. The next boat will be 122. I know that's 85 is way in the back there with Ray Crawford. He slid back about